Hello and welcome to another installment of Exploring with Jason. I'm your host Jason, and today we're going to learn about the life and legacy of father, son of the same name, and we're going to learn about the mansion that the father built and the son lived in. We're going to learn about the mansion. We're going to also learn about the paranormal. Today we're going to dive into and learn about the life and legacy of General Simon Perkins, as well as his son, Colonel Simon Perkins. We're also going to learn about the house Perkins Stone Mansion, which is located in Akron, Ohio. And after that, we'll be learning about the paranormal side of the Perkins Stone Mansion. So if this is something you like, and if you like history, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing it with your friends and family. And without further ado, let's go on and learn about these two men and the home and the paranormal. Now, for context, to not be confused with both of them, so you guys won't be confused, I'm going to refer to the father, Simon Perkins. I'm going to refer to him as General Perkins, and his son Simon. I'm going to refer to him as Colonel Perkins, so you know which one I'm referring to, so you won't be confused. So when you're listening to the story, it just makes it easier. So, without further ado, let's get going. General Simon Perkins was born on September 17th, 1771 in Norwich, Connecticut, which was part of the colony of British America, to the parents of Simon and Olive Douglas Perkins. He was mostly of English descent, even though he had a small amount of Scottish ancestry on his mother's side of the family. He was the oldest son of Simon and Olive Perkins. His father would pass away at the age of 41 years old while serving in the Continental Army during the American Revolution. He was a descendant of one of the oldest English Puritan families of New England, and his ancestry goes far back as far back to 1631 to John Perkins, who came to the New World with Roger Williams. His mother, Olive, was a descendant of William Douglas, one of the founders of New London, Connecticut. At a young age, Simon learned how to survey. In 1795, he traveled to Oswego, New York, where he would survey and work in the land and sales for 3 years. By the late 1797, he was employed by the Erie Land Company to become the company's land agent in Ohio. The Erie Land Company was organized by General Moses Cleveland and other members of Connecticut Land Company. Perkins surveyed the company's land holdings until 1798 and established the headquarters. And he established the headquarters in Warren, Ohio, where he lived the remainder of his life. He would remain an agent of the land company until 1831. He was appointed the first postmaster in the Connecticut Western Reserve, which he held until 1829. In 1827, he would establish a mail route to Detroit by negotiating a treaty with the Native American tribes, after urging Postmaster General Gideon Granger. In 1808, he became a brigadier general in the Ohio militia during the War of 1812. He defended northwestern portion of Ohio from the Native Americans and the British attackers after General William Hull surrendered in Detroit after the fall of 1812. He would go on to command approximately 900 men during this time. In November 24, 1913, he would establish Western Reserve Bank in Warren, Ohio, where the bank had 64 stockholders and a capital of $10,000. He would also help and assist in founding the other banks in Painesville and Norwalk, Ohio. Perkins also co-founded the Briar Hill Iron and Coal Company as stockholders and was the president of the Trumbull and Ashtabula Turnpike Company. He would also go on to serve as a state canal commissioner from 1826 to 1838. He was the main planner for the route of Ohio Erie Canal. He would go on to serve as an auditor for Trumbull County, Ohio, from 1810 to 1812. General Perkins was one of the largest landowners of the state. In 1815, in the records of Portage County, Ohio, stated that he paid 1/11 of all state real estate from Portage County. Some of the townships that were listed in the records at the time are now part of Summit County, Ohio. Most of these holdings that were acquired through outright purchases, with some of his holdings were in present-day Cuyahoga Falls and western Akron. On March 25, 1818, General Perkins purchased 1,298 acres of land from Simon Parkman for $2.08 an acre. This would become the most part of downtown Akron. When he learned about the canal system that would run from Cleveland to the Ohio River, he immediately began to make more purchases for more land in the Summit County area. Some of this land that he purchased was located near Summit Lake, which is now located in South Akron. He hoped that the new canal would be routed through Summit Lake, while increasing the value of the land. In 1825, he was able to convince other canal commissioners of this route. Therefore, he donated the land to the state for the canal rights of way. He also in 1825, he, along with Paul Williams, who was also a settler from Connecticut, donated 100 lots of land to the state, which is now the city of Akron, was founded. It was recorded on December 6th, 1825, at the Portage County seat of Ravenna. Due to its location at the highest point on the canal, Akron quickly became a prosperous town. Even though General Perkins never lived in the city of Akron. His oldest son, Simon, along with his wife, Colonel Simon Perkins, along with his wife and daughter, were moved to the Akron, Ohio, or to the Akron area in 1834, where he oversaw his father's holdings in the Akron area. The Perkins Stone Mansion would be finally completed in 1837, where it would remain to this day and still operated by the Summit County Historical Society as a museum. Colonel Perkins also operated a large sheep farm and wood business, among other concerns, which at the time was managed by John Brown. General Perkins would marry Nancy Anna Bishop on March 1st, 1814. They would go on to have 9 children: Simon, Anna Marie, Olive Douglas, Alfred, Martha, Charles, Joseph, Jacob, and Harvey Bishop. General Perkins' son Joseph was the president of the Bank of Commerce in Cleveland, and as well as the president and co-founder of Lakeview Cemetery, which I'll be getting to in another episode. He would also be known for leading the reform movement in Ohio for jails and infirmaries. General Perkins' other son, Jacob, became the manager and builder for the Cleveland and Mahoney County Railroad. General Perkins would pass away on November 6, 1844, in Warren, Ohio, at 73 years old, and his wife would pass away on April 24, 1862, in Warren, Ohio, at the age of 82 years old. Both are buried in Oakwood Cemetery in Warren, Ohio. Colonel Simon Perkins was born on February 6, 1805, in Warren, Ohio. His first position was with his father's land company in Warren. He would go on to marry Grace Ingersoll Todd on November 22, 1833, in Youngstown, Ohio. 2 years later, in 1834, after their marriage, the two would welcome their first child, a daughter that they named Anna. And then in the same year, they would move to Akron, Ohio. And the reason why the family moved to Akron, Ohio, was so that he could oversee his father's business affairs. The first home that the Perkins family lived in once they moved to Akron was a small wooden frame house, which was located along Porter's Path of Summit County. John Brown, an abolitionist, would rent the property, which is now known as the John Brown House of Akron, from the Perkins family during their partnership. Colonel Perkins encouraged the Akron branch of the Cleveland and Pittsburgh Railroad, which was completed in 1852. As a general superintendent, 1890 or 1816, he would go on to serve as its president from 1854 to 1864, as well as a general superintendent until 1869. He would go back to the Atlantic and Great Western Railroad, but the net losses from this project kept them in significant debt for many years. He would also go on to serve as a Ohio U.S. Senate from 1839 to 1840. He was the first representative of the newly formed Summit County from 1841 to 1842. He was the most prominent figure of the new county. Colonel Perkins also served as a trustee for the Portage Township and the Akron Rural Cemetery, which is now known as the Glendale Cemetery, where he served as the president of the cemetery from 1839 to 1880. Colonel Perkins would also donate property for the founding of two Akron City parks, Union and Grace, which were named in his wife's honor. The two would go on to have 11 children, which includes Anna Bishop, George Todd Perkins, Simon, Alfred, Henry, Maria Allen, Grace Todd, Thomas Kingswan, Charles Ezra, David Todd, and Joseph Douglas. Colonel Perkins would pass away on July 21st, 1887, in Akron, Ohio, at the age of 82 years old. His wife Grace would pass away on April 6, 1867, in Sharon, which is in Mercer County, Pennsylvania, at the age of 56 years old. They are both buried in Glendale Cemetery in Akron, Ohio. The building of Perkins Stone Mansion was built in 1835, and it was completed 2 years later in 1837. Records suggest that the mansion was designed by a Warren, Ohio native, Isaac Ladd, and the design was built in a Greek Revival style mansion. At the time the building was, or at the time of it being built, and after it was built, the mansion sat on 115 acres of land, which was owned by Colonel Simon Perkins. At that time of its completion, the home was located 1 mile southwest border of Akron. The house sat overlooking the city of Akron from the front porch and the Widow's Walk, which was on the roof, which provided a viewing point of the Akron and of the Ohio and Erie Canal. The mansion was constructed hand-cut sandstone, which was provided by the quarry nearby locations. Colonel Perkins would eventually expand on his estate to 300 acres of land. The land was used for farming and sheep grazing, and eventually was a home. And land would be known, or eventually the home and the land would be known as Mutton Hill, quote unquote. The pasture of land came right in front of came to the right of the porch, and the house was originally flanked by vegetable gardens and an arbor. Located nearby the mansion was a wash house where the family would wash and dry clothing, beddings, and other textiles. Behind the mansion sits a woodshed, which is now served as a Summit County Historical Society and Museum's office building. Reconstruction of the property, or reconstruction of the carriage house, the gazebo, and the outhouse are also located on the property, as well as the well. The property is surrounded by, or was surrounded by, a dry mortar stone wall, which most of it still remains to this day. The first owner, like I said, were Colonel Simon Perkins, his wife Anna, and their children. After Colonel Perkins passed away in 1887, the house was carried down to Anna, or their daughter, Anna, which she stayed until her death in 1919. But while she was living in the mansion, she never married, and Her brother, George Todd, assisted her with the maintenance of the home and renovation. After her mother's death in 1867, Anna took the responsibility as a mistress of the home. After Anna's death in 1919, George Todd Perkins' daughter, Mary, and her husband, Charles Raymond, would take over the home. In 1926, Mary and Charles and their son, George Perkins Raymond, decided to move to California. So George decided to sell the home. And in 1945, the Summit County Historical Society and Museum purchased the home from George Raymond for $25,000. Since the last residents of the mansion left in 1940, and since the Summit County Historical Society took over the home as part of a museum, since 1955, there has been reports of paranormal activities. The first paranormal encounter occurred in 1955, when a local historian by the name of Arthur H. Blower, who noted a presence of an old Indian man that would enter the kitchen of the home to walk to the fireplace and sat by the fireplace for a short time and then exit without saying a word. More paranormal occurrences occur after the major renovation in 1986. Volunteers who worked in the Perkins mansion would notice an indentation on the edge of the mattress that was in Colonel Perkins' room, as if someone laid a hand or sat on the bed. Several times a week, volunteers would have to put on white gloves, strain out the antique mattress and quilts, only to find them disturbed when they came in the next day. When the tour guides would give tours, especially in Alexander's room, whose name, the furniture that were specific, especially in the Alexander's room, whose names and the furniture that the one specific bedroom belonged to, J. Parks Alexander, guides or tour guides and guests alike would notice that the rocking chair in the corner of the bedroom start rocking back and forth, followed by a faint smell of odor of a baby powder. During the Christmas holiday, they would have this mannequin on display that is supposed to decorate the room for the holiday season. And every time the volunteers would go into the room, they would find the mannequin or the mannequin's head lying on the floor and detached from his body. Both psychic and history research alike believe that this entity that is supposedly haunting Alexander's bedroom, it is, or they believe that the spirit belongs to Martha, who is the wife of J. Park Alexander. And it is thought and believed that that her spirit came with the furniture, since the furniture did come from her husband. Shortly after this incident, something or someone keeps on taking down the kitchen curtains every night once the staff left for the day. One of the members of the Junior League designer would take a picture of the staircase. When they took the picture, they noticed that they captured what looked like a ghostly woman descending from the main staircase. They believe that the ghostly woman was the spirit of Grace, which is the wife of Colonel Perkins. It is said that she is quite fond of the current director of Summit County Historical Society. However, she was less kind to her predecessor. It is said that a psychic claimed that she received a warning from Grace that she would push her down the stairs if she wasn't careful. With this, the former director received this as a warning and admitted that she was always terrified of the house. Around the same time that the photo was taken of the supposed spirit of Grace, the interior designer spotted a boy and a girl playing with a ball on the third floor hallway. Another time the interior designer came to the house, he felt like he was being watched. So when he turned around, he saw the children peeking at him from the staircase. It is believed that these two spirits of the two children were responsible for leaving a baby doll in the kitchen and always in a different position every morning. Another incident occurred when a volunteer was locking up for the night and turning on every alarm. After she did that, when she went to her car, her daughter told her that she needed to go back inside the house because she saw a little boy still inside the house and had been looking at her from the first floor window. So when the volunteer went back inside the house, and tried looking for the boy, and realized that he was nowhere to be found. After checking and making sure that there was nobody else in the house or inside the house, the volunteer locked the doors and put on the alarms once more and went back to her car and left. People also have claimed to have claimed to have felt the spirit of a cat named Simon Perkins, who lived in the mansion in 1998. After his passing in 2013, People have claimed to see Perkins trotting past the doorway, and people often have felt him pushing his leg near their bodies, and oftentimes heard his earthral meows and with occasional kidney sneeze. People also have claimed to have seen full-body apparitions wearing period clothing, and also children. People witness hearing floor creaking as if someone is walking around when they are either in a different location or if they're in the mansion by themselves. One of the individuals claimed to have her hair touched. One of the individuals claimed to have her hair touched by an unseen entity and a thread going down or across her neck. People also have heard chimes of the bells and including mysterious lights. So, that's a story about General Simon Perkins as well as Colonel Simon Perkins, the Mansion House, or the Perkins Stone Mansion, and the paranormal. So, what do you think of this episode? Do you believe that the cat is haunted? Do you think the cat is there? Do you believe Grace is haunting there? Do you believe her spirit is there? Do you believe the children? I will say this. I was doing research, looking into stuff, on Facebook, and I'll share it on here on my YouTube channel too. There is a picture that they said they took on the staircase of supposed spirit of Grace. I kind of tell, but what to me looked like pareidolia. Or it didn't really look like nothing was there in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. It doesn't mean that there is something there, but, I'll leave that all up to you. But I'll leave a lot of pictures and picture of the cat, the actual picture of the cat that was there since '98. Well, I'll post a lot of pictures in the video, but I'd like to hear what your thoughts on this story. Share your comments below. Share it with your friends, family. Share it with your all over social media. Please consider liking, subscribing, turning the notification on. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you on the next adventure.